What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim back with my review of the Marvel's Avengers beta. Now, I played this on PC. I used an Xbox One Elite controller as my main control schema. And I am here to tell you guys, this game is the real deal. I cannot remember a superhero game that made me feel as big of a badass as this game does. Now, this is a hefty demo. This is a hefty demo. There's a lot to do in here. There's a lot of missions. They're gonna make you really understand how the whole game works by the time you get done with this demo. And you're gonna chip through a little more than 10% of the main campaign story. Now, I'm not gonna get into all that post-release content and all this other stuff they're doing. I'm just focusing on the gameplay, the controls, the feels, that sort of thing. And I'm here to tell you guys, this is the real deal, okay? You get to play as a lot of the Avengers you probably have already seen. There's no real surprises here. They all play very differently. They all have different strengths and different weaknesses, different play styles, and you're gonna play through all of them in the story, and you're gonna figure out which one you like. So when the real game comes out and you can finally get into the multiplayer, you're gonna call dibs on your favorite Avenger because they're all so different. And I found myself liking all of them for very different reasons. Character art and modeling design aside, whether you like or dislike the look of Captain America or the look of Iron Man or Hulk or whatever, you're gonna have that essence of them, and it's gonna just seep through in leaps and bounds in everything that you do. So in the first area, the bridge level, you're gonna jump from all the Avengers leading up to what they eventually call A-Day. And it's basically where the Avengers screw up and a bunch of people die. But before that, they're like rip-roaring, ready to go. They all got their comm pieces. They're all doing their different things. And it feels like you're playing the movie. Now, each character, as I said, radically different. They all have different, you have a light attack, you have a heavy attack. They all have some sort of ranged attack. They all have very cool animations. Obviously, Thor throwing the hammer. Cap throwing the shield. You have gunplay if you want to use that. Hulk picks up rocks and throws them. You got your arm repulsor blasters. Everybody's accounted for here. You have your different like ultimate ability where you just go apeshit crazy and destroy things. Flipping up and blowing up machines. Punching people into walls like really hard, like walls shatter. The destruction in this game is next level. Really, it is. Particularly the level you're playing as the Hulk when you have to walk through the lab. You can destroy practically everything, and what makes it so fun is bad guys love to stockpile explosive barrels everywhere. So there is something so rewarding about playing as the Hulk and picking up a dude and throwing him into an explosive barrel, which sets off a chain reaction, or doing his ultimate where he slaps his hands together and this shockwave blows out all the windows and all the computer monitors and chairs and papers, and explosions just flip up, and you just feel this raw power of this guy. Even playing as Captain America, who is pretty tough in his own right. I've seen the movies. I know what this guy can pull off. Much more dynamic of a fighter, though. Doing a lot of rolls and flips, using his shield as a really cool battering ram, or jumping in the air and punching down through his shield, or throwing it and having it bounce back while you're fighting people, grabbing it with one hand and continuing to fight. It's cool. There's levels in terms of your character level, which unlocks skill points into various progression trees, which you probably will ultimately go through and max everything out. But I suspect you're gonna play each hero slightly differently, and you're gonna find what skills you like, and you're gonna be able to put points into those skills to make them even better. I loved throwing things with the Hulk. I don't know why. It was just phenomenally rewarding to me, of him just picking up giant like pieces of like granite and just launching them. So I upgraded that ability a couple times. So when I threw the granite, it was huge. When you first start, it's like, it's still big. But like by the third time you upgrade it, like you're throwing like steel beams at people, right? And it does a ton of damage. The animation's phenomenal as enemies get knocked back, knocked into things, knocked into each other. It's got all the cool bells and whistles you would want on that back end of the combat system in terms of like stun damage and critical damage and all that stuff. you don't have to worry about it. It's there if you want to really min and max your statistics with your gear. There is a whole gear thing here. But if you don't want to do that, just say, you know what, put the best thing on for me and let me just go. And you'll just be fine. But if you really want to enjoy the experience and treat it like a light RPG, there are collectibles, there are skins, there are different pieces of gear that you can unlock that will do different things that will make you play the game differently as well. Maybe you need more health, maybe you need more attack, whatever. And that does kind of marry into the play style of each hero. That also marries into the points that you allocate. So by the end, Hulk was a hurler, dude. This guy was just throwing stuff like a madman. It was a blast. I love the destruction environments, as I mentioned like 50 times, because it's just so good. But combat outside of that is very rewarding as well. It's not hard, but it's challenging enough. There's going to be enemies that have different types of attacks that you're going to need to figure out how to beat. Either jump up and do a heavy attack, or slide behind them and hit them from behind, or they have a parry system. You can press B and you like move out of the way very quickly, which kind of slows down time just enough to let you do some really cool counter punches. The boss battles in this game are phenomenal. Larger than life, big set environments, things to destroy. You're gonna feel very rewarded for fighting these bosses. They're very long, brutal fights that have multiple phases that allow you to really be yourself. And I really like that Taskmaster fight on the bridge. That guy is cool. Apparently the Taskmaster learns very quickly. So if you keep spamming light attack, as my wife was, because I was watching her on the computer directly to my left, he figures it out and he's like, ah, and he blocks you, and they force you to use light attacks, heavy attacks, range attacks, parries, and you have to mix it up against him. And that's just one example. But my point is, they've put thought into it. The bosses are not just damage like meat shields, you know, like a lot of these bosses you fight in these games, they just do 1 or 2 basic attacks. Their health bar is like this long. It takes you 30 minutes to just whittle them down. This had different phases. It felt good. The environment changed as you fought. When Hulk fights the Abomination, that was an amazing fight. You fight him in one spot, he blows you through a wall. You fight him in another spot, you're fighting back and forth using your ultimate. He's using his ultimate. Smoke, explosions. It's very, very exciting. And you do have a sense of accomplishment and a sense of like, yeah, you did it. And I really see that hook leading into the multiplayer aspect where you could team up with your friends, and I think you guys could be like badasses, like major destructive forces. If you have people kind of synergizing attacks and working together to take out people, I really feel like you're gonna feel like the Avengers when they're good. Even Camilla Khan, who I think looks goofy, not her character model, I don't care about that, but like her abilities, like her hand gets really big or her foot gets really big and she's like all like bendy tube man. I'm like, this is gonna be so dumb. Please don't make me play with her. You have to play with her. And you know what? She's awesome. Really, really fun. I enjoyed playing with her. Every animation is so different. Her ranged attack, by the way, she punches and her hand gets really long. Which is cool for like a range, you know, pew pew, and there's like these like long rubbery arms, long rubbery legs. She can smack things together. She winds up her fist and does this like big fist punch for like giant AoE damage. Really cool. I could really feel like playing with any of these heroes I would be okay with. Like, I don't feel like I have to jump into multiplayer, like I have to be Hulk or else. They're all fun in their own right. They all have really nice modeling, the lighting, the particle effects, the draw distance. The only drawback is the frame rate. I'm playing on a 2080 Ti graphics card, Pentium i7, or Intel Pentium. I have a Pentium, guys. That's how old I am. I have an i7. I'm running on M.2. I am running an ultra wide, but my wife was not. My wife doesn't use an ultra wide monitor. We both had significant performance issues. That's what she said. We both had significant performance issues when it came to running this game. It did not run well. There was a lot of hiccuping. There was a lot of frame rate skipping. And I don't understand it because that graphics card runs anything. It runs anything. It should not have an issue with this game, particularly since you're usually in somewhat confined spaces fighting. It's not like you're fighting in these giant open world areas where you could see miles away and you're throwing a guy and you're watching him blow through like, 10 buildings way down the street. You're talking these little confined lab spaces, or in like a jungle, or like in this ice kind of environment. It shouldn't be like that, and it is. And I suspect running it on the PlayStation or the Xbox, it's going to run into some significant issues. So I warn you guys about that because I think it's important. I think it's going to ruin some of the experience. This game runs best when it's fluid and fun. Enemies are pouring in from all sets of directions. You're using all of your abilities to their fullest potential, smashing, destroying things, having fun, laughing, explosions, excitement. And then these frame rate issues hit and it just kills the game. It's just the momentum, the excitement, the blaring music, the great particles, the sound effects, it just stops because you're playing on a flipbook. And if I'm noticing in a 2080 Ti, you are absolutely going to notice it on your Pro or your Xbox One X. No doubt about it. There's no way that this game is not going to have issues. That's my biggest fear. So I think play this beta. It's free right now for PlayStation. It'll be free for everybody next week, so it gives you plenty of time to watch my video and formulate your own opinion. Excuse me, hiccuping. Formulate your own opinions about it before you even play the thing. But it's going to be free to play next weekend. Check it out. I don't think this is a day one purchase. I think this is a game you're going to want to wait on. Let them patch it, let them bump it up, and let's see. I will say this whole Spider-Man debacle definitely makes me lean towards getting it on the PlayStation, but I'll tell you, if it runs as bad as I think it's going to run, I'm not getting it at all until it gets better. And I might just end up getting it on PC because I just don't see the performance being there. But ultimately, I think it's a fun game. I think it does a phenomenal job at what it set out to do, and I think you're going to have a blast with it because I sure did, frame rate issues aside. I hope you guys found this video informative. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.